And I always tell people, man, every garden is a success. Anything, if you're growing a garden, everything is going to get eaten. It might not be you. It might be aphids. It might be grasshoppers. You know what I mean? But it's a success. Things got fed. And that's the thing. A garden is in the context of a whole habitat and a whole ecology. I'm Joel Tippens. I'm the founding director of City Farms Grower Coalition. When I was little, I couldn't go out and ride my bike until I got my chores done. And my dad was a gardener, so I guess I got used to helping him in the yard. And then when we lived in Florida, I had some friends that wanted to start a community garden. That's kind of how I began to get really involved. When I first came to Chattanooga, it was at the invitation of a local church that wanted to move beyond the food pantry. They were hoping to see people empowered toward greater self-reliance and being able to grow some of the foods that they wanted to eat themselves. And so that was the first garden project, and then we just got invited to do schoolyard gardens, community gardens, small urban micro farms here in town. And after doing the work for about 10 years, I began to reflect on what is a need that has not been met. And City Farms Grower Coalition was established out of that process. One of the main missions with City Farms is to look for ways to collaborate. We don't really want to own our own program and our own projects, but we want to be able to come alongside and help facilitate food justice vision of other organizations.
Our lives together, right? So connection.
We want to be able to establish a network where there might be more partnership opportunities, sharing of resources and assets.
Living a good life is not a right that you earn. You're born here, we're part of nature, we're part of this system. Everybody deserves to eat well and be in community. And
it's always more of an impact when you can gather people and work collectively. Some time ago, if we go back 2 or 3 generations, we were more connected with where our food came from. A lot of our food was grown regionally in a sustainable manner, but in the last, say, 50 years, we've established an industrial, extractive system of agriculture that is not sustainable. It's ruining the environment where those farms operate. It degrades soil, water, air, and we're at a crisis in being able to mitigate some of the impact on climate change. And agriculture is a great way to do that, but you can't really get involved in a global effort and have much of an impact. So we encourage people to do what you can locally. There was a saying back around the first Earth Day of thinking global and acting local. If more folks had education and training in being able to grow locally and cook and eat a lot of the food that they were able to grow themselves, that would take a lot of pressure off of the industrial food system. And so I believe it just starts with what vegetables and fruits do you really like to eat? Can you grow them here in our climate? And then where do you find the knowledge to be able to do that? When the water comes down the drip tape, it reaches the end. The urban cultivator workshops are for folks who are gardening and need a little more comprehension. And I did that for free. Now I can go get coffee. So kind of take folks on a little journey beginning with the soil, looking at what vegetables need in way of sunlight and water, and then how to grow vegetables sustainably. Gardening is one of those humiliating activities that can humble you down to where you realize, I don't know what's going on. And that's a good place to be. That's actually a nice, humble way to approach life, is I don't know what's going on. It's funny because my personal interest is not really in organic asparagus or the biggest tomato. When you talk about community gardening, it's the community part that interests me more. You folks back there without a table, we don't want you to feel neglected. I enjoy meeting new people, developing relationships that way. I love being in the energy of college students and high school students who have a vision to get busy and get to work and do something to make this world better. What color do you like? I think working in any kind of community development activity, there's a lot of ups and downs. Much like the weather, you have seasons that seem successful, and then you have stormy weather where maybe something changes beyond your control and all the work that you put into something is taken away from you. Land use is a big problem in agriculture these days, and with Chattanooga's development renaissance right now, the ability to locate unused parcels of land that might be suitable for a community garden or for a small urban agriculture project, it's getting harder and harder. We've lost a couple of community gardens just in the last 2 or 3 years to development. We have one community garden on East Main Street in the Ridgedale neighborhood that was established in 2012, and that property recently sold, and this is the final growing season at that garden. And that is a refugee resettlement outreach garden. There's a number of different African and Central and South American and Middle Eastern nations that have been participating in that community garden to grow food for their household. We need to know where that garden is going to be relocated, because a lot of those folks come from an agrarian culture where it's just part of who they are to grow their own food. Keeping hold of community garden property can be difficult as well. Usually land in the city, it's cost prohibitive for a community garden organization to purchase the land and own it. So you're sort of at the mercy of the market and who sees the value in that location and what are they willing to pay for it. All of those things just go to build, I think, a sense of presence and patience that each and every day is of value in and of itself. I tend to work from day to day and season to season, much like the growing season. And so that makes the work very rewarding, regardless of the frustrations that can build and can be very powerful and upsetting sometimes. But you always have to return to this present time, this present day, what is at hand, and then at the end of the day being able to look back and have that sense of accomplishment that it was a good day and we did accomplish something.
You're cooking dinner, it's getting around 10:30. I haven't smelled food so good since I don't know where and I don't know when. Where and I don't know. Stove light glows like a fire, we're sitting on the kitchen floor. Just when I think I couldn't feel more, I feel a little more. I feel a little understanding.
I would love to find a young person that has all the skills and knowledge and ability and vision and passion to take the leadership of City Farms and run with it. If my time runs out in doing this work here in Chattanooga, I've got a sailboat that one day might be headed toward the Gulf of Mexico.
Understanding, patience and pleasure, time and attention, love without measure, love without measure. Show me understanding, patience and pleasure, the 11